Welcome to HFY Galaxy Tales. Like this video and subscribe the channel for more HFY stories. You know what really grinds my exoskeleton? Underestimating someone. And let me tell you, the entire Galactic Council made that mistake with the humans. Big time. My name is Vark, and I am a documentation officer for the Council. Not the most exciting job in the universe, sure, but it pays well and keeps my spawning pool heated. I have witnessed approximately 743 species join our grand alliance over my career. Humans. They were supposed to be number 744. Simple. Easy. Boring. Oh, how wrong we were. It started on a Tuesday. Well, not a Tuesday exactly, because humans had not joined yet, so their bizarre 7-day calendar system meant nothing to us. But you get the point. It was a standard rotation cycle when the human delegation arrived at Station Omega 9, our primary diplomatic hub floating somewhere between the Andromeda and Triangulum galaxies. 3 of them stepped off their primitive shuttle. And I mean primitive. The thing looked like someone welded together spare parts from a scrap yard and hoped for the best. It belched smoke. Actual smoke. In space. Do you have any idea how much effort that requires? The lead human was a woman named Captain Victoria Mars. Yes, Mars. Like their planet's neighboring world. Apparently, humans think that is clever. She stood about average height for her species, with dark skin, short cropped hair, and eyes that seemed to calculate everything around her in microseconds. Her companions were a nervous-looking male called Dennis Park, their technology specialist, and a female named Lieutenant Kara Flynn, who I later learned was their security officer, though she looked more interested in the station's vending machines than actual security. I was assigned to process their entry documentation. Standard procedure, nothing special. 23 forms, 6 biological scans, 2 psychological evaluations, and 1 declaration of non-hostility. Easy stuff. Welcome to Station Omega 9, I said, my translator converting my natural clicking sounds into something their primitive ears could process. Please present your credentials and prepare for standard integration protocols. Captain Mars smiled. Humans do that a lot, showing their teeth like miniature predators. Unsettling, really. Thank you, Officer Vark. We are honored to be here. Polite. Professional. Totally unremarkable. I began processing their files while my colleague, a Threxian named Kill, monitored from the observation deck above. Kill had been doing this even longer than me. Nothing surprised him anymore. Or so we thought. The first oddity came during the biological scan. Humans, according to our database, were supposed to be carbon-based, oxygen-breathing, standard gravity species. Moderately intelligent. Decent tool users. Nothing spectacular. The galaxy had 87 species matching that exact description. But Dennis Park's scan came back with an anomaly. Your cardiovascular system shows unusual redundancy, I noted, checking the readings twice. Multiple backup systems for critical functions. This is not in our preliminary data. Dennis grinned, adjusting his glasses. Humans used corrective lenses even though they had perfectly good surgical options. Weird. Oh, that? Yeah, humans are kind of built like tanks. We heal fast, adapt faster, and our bodies have backups for backups. Evolution on Earth was not exactly gentle. I filed that under mildly interesting and moved on. Kill barely glanced at the notation. The real fun started during the intelligence assessment. Now, I should explain something. The Galactic Council uses a standardized intelligence metric called the Cognitive Adaptability Index. It measures problem-solving, pattern recognition, abstract thinking, and creative solution generation. Most species score between 400 and 600. The Vril, our smartest members, averaged 782. Humans, based on their technological level and social development, were predicted to score around 425. Captain Mars scored 891. I stared at the screen. Blinked all three of my eyes. Checked the calibration. Ran the test again. 893. There must be a malfunction, I muttered, calling Kill down from his perch. He oozed over, his gelatinous form rippling with annoyance. What now? Look at this score. Kill's eye stalks focused on the display, then widened. That is impossible. Run it again. Use the backup system. We did. Captain Mars scored 889 on the third attempt. Perhaps she is an outlier, Kill suggested, though his tone sounded uncertain. Test the others. Dennis Park scored 856. Lieutenant Flynn scored 902. Okay, I said slowly, feeling my breathing spiracles tighten with concern. Okay, this is unusual. But perhaps they sent their best. Their top-tier representatives. Captain Mars laughed when I asked. Actually laughed, like I had told the funniest joke in the universe. Officer Vark, I am a decent shuttle pilot and okay at diplomacy. Dennis here failed out of advanced engineering school twice. Kara barely graduated from her academy. We are not our best. We are just the ones who volunteered for this crazy trip. Kill and I exchanged glances. Well, I glanced. He sort of quivered meaningfully. I need to report this to the council, Kill said, sliding away toward the communication arrays. Meanwhile, I continued processing the humans. Everything else checked out. They were friendly, cooperative, maybe a bit too curious about everything, constantly asking questions about the station's layout, power systems, and recycling protocols. Typical newcomer behavior. The council convened an emergency session 6 hours later. I was required to attend, standing in the back of the grand chamber while 300 representatives from across the galaxy argued about what to do with these bizarre humans. High Counselor Thane, a towering Krelix with 4 arms and a permanent scowl, addressed the assembly. These test results are concerning. Either their species is far more intelligent than preliminary scans indicated, or they have discovered a way to cheat our assessment systems. Or, suggested Counselor Mira, a floating energy being who always spoke in riddles, they simply think differently than we anticipated. Different patterns. Different solutions. Different dangers. We should observe them, proposed Counselor Zark, whose species loved observation almost as much as they loved bureaucracy. Place them in controlled scenarios. See how they perform under pressure. The council voted. 17 in favor, 2 abstaining, none opposed. The humans would undergo the trials of integration, a series of challenges designed to test cooperative abilities, resource management, ethical reasoning, and crisis response. Standard stuff. Every species did it. What happened next became legendary. Trial 1 was simple. A locked room with limited resources and a puzzle that required 3 different species working together to solve. We paired the humans with a Drell team, masters of logical sequential thinking, and a pair of Kalvax, who excelled at spatial reasoning. The puzzle involved rerouting power through a complex grid while simultaneously decoding a mathematical sequence and physically manipulating various components. Average completion time: 4 hours. Captain Mars took one look at the setup, talked with her team for maybe 90 seconds, then asked, "Can we break the wall?" I blinked at her through the observation window. What? The wall. Can we break it? Like, are there rules against property damage? I checked the regulations. Nobody had ever asked before. Well, no, technically the rules do not explicitly forbid structural modification, but that is not the intended solution and... Too late. Lieutenant Flynn had already kicked through a weakened wall panel, exposing the power conduits behind it. Dennis rerouted everything in 30 seconds flat while the Drell and Kalvax stood there, mandibles hanging open in shock. Completion time: 6 minutes. That seems like cheating, Counselor Thane grumbled when he saw the footage. But it is not, Captain Mars replied sweetly during the debriefing. You said solve the puzzle. We solved it. You never specified how. Trial 2 involved resource negotiation. 3 species, limited supplies, must distribute everything fairly while maintaining survival thresholds for all participants. This usually took hours of careful debate and mathematical calculation. The humans walked in, took one look at the supplies, and immediately started giving away most of their allocated resources to the other species. Wait, what are you doing? I asked through the intercom, genuinely confused. Building goodwill, Dennis explained, handing over medical supplies to a real representative. See, if we help them now, they will remember it. Social capital is a resource too, Officer Vark. Plus, we can survive on way less than the baseline recommends. Humans are terrifyingly efficient at not dying. He was right. While the other species argued over distribution formulas, the humans had already secured alliances with everyone in the room by being generous. When the scenario shifted to a simulated crisis, guess who everyone wanted to help? Trial completed in 45 minutes. Record time. By trial 3, the council was getting nervous. This was supposed to be the hard one. Ethical reasoning under pressure. A trolley problem on steroids, involving species survival, individual rights, resource scarcity, and temporal paradoxes. Species typically agonized over these scenarios for days. The humans solved it in 2 hours by finding a solution nobody had considered. They reprogrammed the scenario parameters themselves, creating a fourth option that saved everyone through a combination of creative thinking and what Dennis called aggressive negotiation with reality itself. They hacked the simulation, I reported to Counselor Thane, my voice flat with disbelief. They what? They found a backdoor in the code, modified the constraints, and solved the unsolvable problem. Technically, they did not break any rules. They just changed the game. Thane's 4 arms crossed simultaneously. These humans are dangerous. Or brilliant, Counselor Mira chimed in, her energy field pulsing with what might have been amusement. The council went into closed session. I was not privy to those discussions, but I heard the rumors. Some wanted to reject humanity's application immediately. Others wanted to study them extensively. A few suggested quarantine. But here is the thing about the Galactic Council. We are bureaucrats. We follow procedures. And the humans had not technically violated any rules. They had simply interpreted them creatively. Annoyingly creatively. 3 days later, the council announced their decision. Humanity would be accepted as probationary members, with full integration pending a final trial. An unprecedented test designed specifically for them. They would be given an impossible task. Something that had stumped the galaxy's greatest minds for centuries. The Corvin Lock. I will explain. The Corvins were an ancient species, long extinct, who left behind a massive archive of technology and knowledge sealed inside a satellite orbiting a dead star. Every species had tried to access it. Every species had failed. The security system was supposedly unbreakable, designed by minds far superior to anything currently alive in the galaxy. If the humans could crack it, they would prove themselves worthy. If they failed, well, they would be just another average species after all. Captain Mars accepted the challenge with that same unsettling smile. When do we start? She asked. The answer? Immediately. And that is when things got really interesting. The Corvin Lock satellite hung in space like a giant metal egg, approximately 2 kilometers in diameter, covered in symbols that predated most current civilizations. It had been sitting there for roughly 12,000 years, mocking us. Taunting us. Refusing to give up its secrets. Hundreds of expeditions had tried to crack it. The Vril sent their best cryptographers. The Drell attempted systematic deconstruction. The Kalvax even tried to move the entire thing through dimensional portals. Nothing worked. The satellite simply absorbed every attack, deflected every probe, and remained stubbornly closed. The humans got 3 weeks and a small research vessel. That was it. I volunteered to observe. Partially because it was my job, but mostly because I had become genuinely curious about these strange primates who seemed to approach problems from angles nobody else considered. Kill joined me, claiming it was professional interest, but I suspected he just wanted to see them fail. We docked our observation pod a safe distance away and watched as the human ship, which they had named the Longshot, approached the satellite. The crew had expanded to 12 people now, all specialists in various fields. Captain Mars remained in command, with Dennis handling technical systems and Lieutenant Flynn managing security, though what security threats existed around a dead satellite, I had no idea. Day 1 started with scans. Predictable. Every species started with scans. But then things got weird. Officer Vark, Captain Mars called over the comm channel, "Do you have historical records of what the Corvins actually looked like? Biological structure, sensory organs, that kind of thing?" I pulled up the files. They were silicon-based, roughly hexagonal symmetry, with 17 sensory appendages arranged in spiral patterns. Why? Just curious about how they perceived reality. If you think in spirals, you probably build security systems in spirals too. That was day 1. They spent 14 hours just studying Corvin biology and culture, not even touching the satellite itself. Kill rippled with smug satisfaction. See? They are out of their depth already. They are stalling. But I was not so sure. Day 2, they started playing music at the satellite. What are they doing? Kill demanded, his eye stalks practically vibrating with confusion. I checked the readings. They are broadcasting various sound frequencies, electromagnetic patterns, and what appears to be mathematical sequences encoded in audio format. It is extremely strange. A human named Dr. Rebecca Okonkwo explained when I asked. She was their xenoarchaeologist, specializing in dead civilizations. The Corvins had 37 different communication methods according to your records. We are trying all of them, plus a few they might not have used but could theoretically understand. Think of it as knocking on every possible door. But the satellite has no auditory sensors, I protested. That you know of, she replied cheerfully. But it definitely has vibration detection, radiation sensors, and probably a few input methods we have not identified yet. We are covering our bases. Day 3 brought another surprise. They stopped trying to open the satellite and started trying to befriend it. Yes. Befriend it. "Hello, Corvin Archive," Dennis said over an open channel, his voice warm and conversational. "My name is Dennis Park. I am a human. We are new here. We come from a little blue planet called Earth, and we are really hoping you might share some of your knowledge with us. We promise to be respectful." He talked to that satellite for 6 hours straight. Just casual conversation. About Earth. About humanity. About why they wanted to learn from the Corvins. He told it jokes. Shared historical anecdotes. Even sang a song his grandmother taught him. "They have lost their minds," Kill declared. "This is embarrassing. But I noticed something." The satellite's energy signature changed slightly whenever Dennis spoke. Tiny fluctuations. Almost like it was listening. Day 4, they tried a different approach. They started solving math problems near the satellite. Just working through complex equations on external displays, visible to any sensors that might be watching. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their quantum physicist, explained the strategy. "If I were an ancient civilization leaving behind knowledge, I would want to make sure whoever found it was smart enough to deserve it. So we are showing our work. Proving we are not idiots." They worked through problems in multiple mathematical languages. Base 10, Base 17, binary, geometric proofs, quantum probability matrices, even poetry-based number systems that one Earth culture had developed. It was actually impressive, watching them demonstrate their intellectual range. The satellite responded. A small panel on its surface slid open, revealing a display screen covered in Corvan symbols. We got a response. Captain Mars shouted, her excitement crackling through the comm channel. Recording everything now. The symbols were a test. A mathematical puzzle that required understanding 17 different conceptual frameworks simultaneously. The Vril had attempted this exact puzzle 800 years ago and given up after 6 months. The humans solved it in 4 days. How? They cheated. Kind of. They crowdsourced the solution. Dennis built a communication network that connected their ship to Earth, despite being thousands of light years away. The delay was significant, but they did not care. They transmitted the puzzle to every university, research institution, and random internet forum on their planet. We have 8 billion people back home, Captain Mars explained when I questioned the ethics of this approach. All with different perspectives, different backgrounds, different ways of thinking. Why would we limit ourselves to just 12 brains when we can use billions? Within 72 hours, a retired mathematics teacher from a place called Peru, working with a teenage student from something called South Korea, collaborating with a musician from a nation called Iceland, found the solution. They approached it through music theory, of all things, recognizing harmonic patterns in the mathematical sequences. The satellite opened another panel. This is highly irregular, Counselor Thane complained during his daily check-in. They are supposed to solve this themselves, not get help from their entire species. The rules never specified working alone, Captain Mars countered. You said humanity could attempt the lock. Humanity includes all of us. Every single human. Thane grumbled but could not argue with the logic. Days 5 through 9 involved increasingly complex puzzles, each building on the previous solution. The humans tackled each one with a combination of brilliant analysis and absolutely bonkers creativity. One puzzle required understanding quantum states across 17 dimensions. They solved it by having Dr. Tanaka work with a human child prodigy who apparently thought in geometric visualizations naturally. Another required empathetic reasoning about long-dead emotional states. They brought in their poets, artists, and psychologists for that one. A third demanded simultaneous logical consistency across paradoxical frameworks. They handed that to their philosophers and video game designers, who were apparently experts in broken rule systems. By day 10, they had reached the final lock. The big one. The puzzle that had stopped every previous attempt cold. It was simple in concept but apparently impossible in execution. The satellite presented a scenario requiring the solver to demonstrate understanding of every major scientific principle, every ethical framework, and every artistic tradition developed by the Corvans, then synthesize all of it into a single coherent solution that honored their culture while advancing beyond it. Basically, you had to prove you were worthy successors to Corvan civilization itself. Previous attempts had failed because species tried to demonstrate superiority. They tried to show they were better than the Corvans, more advanced, more worthy. The humans did the opposite. Captain Mars stood before the satellite's main display and spoke directly to it, broadcasting on every frequency. We are not better than you. We are not smarter. We are messier, actually. More chaotic. We make terrible mistakes constantly. But we learn from them, usually. We have fought devastating wars, nearly destroyed our own planet multiple times, and still struggle with basic cooperation sometimes. She paused, and I swear the satellite seemed to lean in somehow, though that was probably my imagination. But here is what we can offer. We remember. We preserve. We honor those who came before us while trying to build something better for those who come after. We know we stand on the shoulders of giants, and we never forget that. If you share your knowledge with us, we promise it will not be lost. We will study it, protect it, share it, and add to it. Your civilization will not be forgotten. Your achievements will echo through eternity. You will live on through us. Silence filled the comm channels. Even Kill stopped rippling. Then Lieutenant Flynn stepped forward. Also, we brought you a gift. She activated a data core they had been building since day one. It contained everything. Every piece of human art, music, literature, scientific achievement, historical record, and cultural tradition they could compile. Thousands of years of human civilization, compressed and formatted in 17 different encoding methods, including several based on Corvan systems. We wanted to share ourselves with you, Kara explained. Seems only fair. You show us yours, we show you ours. The satellite processed this for approximately 47 seconds. Then it opened. Not just one panel. Not just a few compartments. The entire satellite blossomed like a mechanical flower, revealing chamber after chamber of data cores, technology samples, and information archives. More knowledge than the entire Galactic Council had accumulated in 10,000 years of combined civilization. They did it, I whispered, barely believing what I was seeing. They actually did it. Kill said nothing. He just quivered in what might have been shock or possibly respect. The humans spent the next 3 days carefully cataloging everything, already making plans to share it with the Council, discussing preservation protocols, and treating every piece of Corvan knowledge with reverence and excitement. Captain Mars called me directly on day 13. Officer Vark, we are ready to return. And we have a proposal for the Council. What kind of proposal? The galaxy has been trying to open this thing for thousands of years, right? Treating it like a test to pass or a prize to win. But what if you have been thinking about it wrong? What if the Corvans did not want competitors or conquerors? What if they wanted friends? Successors who would honor their memory while building something new? She smiled that predatory smile again, but this time it seemed less threatening and more inviting. We think the galaxy could use a little more cooperation and a little less competition. We want to propose a new approach to integration. Not hierarchies. Not rankings. Not tests of superiority. Just different species, different strengths, working together to solve impossible problems. When the humans returned to Station Omega-9, they were greeted as heroes. The Council had no choice but to grant them full membership immediately, along with commendations for exceptional achievement. But the real change came in the months that followed. Humans started collaborating with everyone. They paired their creative chaos with Drell logical precision, creating breakthroughs in theoretical physics. They combined their empathetic reasoning with real intellectual processing, revolutionizing diplomatic protocols. They even worked with the notoriously stubborn Kalvax, finding compromise solutions to spatial engineering problems that had stumped both species independently. Within a year, human methodology had influenced 17 different Council projects. Within 5 years, their approach to collaborative problem-solving had become standard practice. And the kicker? They never claimed credit. They always pointed to their partners, their collaborators, their teachers from other species. They understood something the rest of us had forgotten. Nobody succeeds alone. Not really. I eventually asked Captain Mars about it during a diplomatic reception. We had become something like friends, though I still found her tendency to show her teeth unnerving. How did you know the Corvan Lock would respond to friendship instead of superiority? I asked. She laughed, that warm human sound that somehow conveyed both amusement and affection. Vark, we are a species that domesticated wolves into dogs, turned wild cats into pampered house pets, and befriended practically every creature on our planet. We tried friendship first because that is what we do. We connect. We build relationships. We find common ground. Sure, we can fight when necessary, but we would much rather make friends. But you were so clever about it. The gifts, the demonstrations, the emotional appeals. Not clever. Just human. We have been doing this for thousands of years with each other, learning to bridge cultural divides, finding ways to cooperate despite massive differences. The Corvan Lock was just another first contact scenario. And humans are really, really good at those. She took a sip of some blue beverage the Vril had provided, made a face at the taste, but drank it anyway because refusing would be rude. Very human. Besides, she added, you all underestimated us from the start. You saw average intelligence, average technology, average everything. You missed the important parts. Which were? Our creativity. Our cooperation. Our stubborn refusal to accept that anything is truly impossible. Our ability to fail repeatedly and keep trying anyway. Our tendency to approach problems from weird angles nobody else considers. And most importantly, our genuine desire to learn from others while sharing what we know. She grinned at me, showing all those predatory teeth, but somehow it felt friendly now. You thought we were average, Vark. But average was just the baseline. What we built on top of that. That is what makes us human. And now that we are part of the galaxy, we are going to help everyone else remember that cooperation beats competition every single time. And you know what? She was absolutely right. The humans were never average. They were something far more dangerous and far more wonderful. They were bridge builders in a galaxy that had forgotten how to connect. And we were all better for it.